Welcome to Ignite Intimacy, a podcast exploring intimacy, romantic relationships, sexuality, and the all of everything that relates to these hot topics. We're going in. You ready? This is your host, Miss La. Let's do this. And we are recording. Ignite Intimacy Community. So just a little insider, information for the community, which I think would be cool. Thank you for asking, Elise. We actually don't do any cutting and pasting generally with the Ignite Intimacy podcast. It's our conversation is our conversation. And I think that's really fun and raw about it, right? It's we could just have this conversation and not think about cutting it up and piecing it together. And we just have this open, free-flowing conversation. And usually the juice comes out and it's super awesome. And it's exactly what we all need or want to hear anyways, right? So yeah.
Cool. It's super authentic.
Exactly. And you and I, we're two kind of renegade rebel women in the world. So we kind of live our life unedited, right?
Absolutely. For better or worse.
Exactly.
No filter. I've said many times, I apologize in advance. I have no filter and put it all out there.
Exactly. Well, this is awesome, Elise. So Ignite Intimacy Community, we have a super powerhouse woman on the line with us today. She's in business. She's a leader in the cannabis space. She's just an all-around creative person, and creative in both business, creative in life, creative in the way that she dresses and expresses herself. And we met at the Fest Forums, right? In
SF Music Tech.
Or SF Music Tech.
Forums,
totally.
Right?
Yep. So we met at SF Music Tech, and which a mutual friend of ours puts on every year. It's awesome. Anyone who's in music technology, the entertainment industry, definitely check out SF Music Tech. It happens in, I think, October in San Francisco, something like that. So the next one is coming up. It totally blew me away. It's an awesome event.
No, it really is. I mean, gosh, I connected with you there, and I connected with Lori there from Fest Forums. And even though I was there working in SF Music Tech, I identified on the microphone as a woman in cannabis in our women's meetup. I think you were in that room.
Yep.
And I said, I've been in music and I've been in technology, but I'm pivoting into cannabis and have great relationships and expertise. If anyone's interested in that world, talk to me. And that was the first catalyst, because then I talked to Lori and I wound up doing that panel at Fest Forums, which ultimately I haven't looked back. That's when I really decided to go full, put all 100% of my energy into cannabis and really kind of say goodbye or make peace that and identify or, let go of the music professional dream and really, embrace and go after this new dream of being a leader in the cannabis industry. And I'm so glad I did, because it hasn't even been a full year yet. And look where we are.
I know. And we're going to dive in because you have some really cool stuff going on. And what I want to just acknowledge is the power of sharing, right? And the power of choosing to follow the energy, right? And when you shared, I was so inspired by this story. It's you shared there were probably 50 women in that room, and everyone was going around and just, sharing for 30 or 60 seconds about what they're up to, what they're into. And you shared, and there was a very powerful woman in the room, Lori, who is one of the co-founders of Fest Forums, which is another great event that happens on the West Coast and on the East Coast twice a year. It's really cool. Definitely check it out. But you inspired her, you connected, she invited you to do a panel at Fest Forums in Santa Barbara. And then she also invited you to join a panel at South by Southwest, which that is the perfect example of the power of sharing.
Absolutely. And also I have to note, and women supporting women, because how cool was that? I mean, that was a specific women's meetup room. So yeah, it was with the intention of how can we all support each other. But then, I've got to give Lori Kirby credit for, really walking that walk and actually talking to me and taking a chance. She barely knew me and she gave me a platform and trusted me and gave me that opportunity to do that panel, and even, reciprocated and brought me back for South by. So I love that. And then when, the more I love to do that for others and, pay that forward and give it back. And that's one special thing I've found in cannabis. And even though Lori's not technically a cannabis professional, but in cannabis, there's even more, I think, women supporting women than any other industry I've seen. But that was a special group at both those events. I'm grateful. I'm looking forward to going back to those this year. You'll be there, right?
I mean, hopefully. I don't know yet exactly what my travel schedule is, but Santa Barbara would be amazing, and so would SF Music Tech in San Francisco. So I've just got to look at the calendar and see what it's looking like. But I would love to be there. And yeah, I mean, I thank you for bringing that to the surface as well. It's like Lori Kirby is walking the talk, and the fact that, she reached out to you and gave you a platform through the work that she's done to create that platform is super inspiring.
Absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. And just like this new direction in the cannabis space. So it's great to talk with you because when I touch into your energy, it's like you are just like yummy, juicy awesomeness, like all over the place. And people may be wondering, like, how does cannabis connect with sexuality and intimacy and all of that stuff? And we're going to get there. However, I just want to, bring some light to the energy that I feel you be in the world, which is just like this juicy, amazing, creative awesomeness and this openness to explore new horizons.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. And right back at you, sister. Yeah, I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, gosh, thank you. I do pride myself. I am, again, for better or worse, I'm very open. And sometimes been a few times in my life where I've maybe apologized for it and just been like, I can't help it. I'm just a super open person. But what I like about getting older and feeling more comfortable in my own skin is not apologizing for being open and being more open and really kind of channeling how to express it in a way that I guess encourages other people to be open rather than to intimidate them. Because I think sometimes when people are just so open, when people aren't used to that, it can be a little scary.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling great right now. Thank you so much for having me and having this conversation. It's an honor and it's a great time to do it. I've been meditating a lot lately. I've actually hit my 20 days in a row.
Great.
And it's been changing my life. So even adding that into my energy and the shifts I'm seeing, it's a great time. It's an exciting time in my life right now too. So
awesome. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about what you've got going on. I know you just finished an amazing project in Northern California around the cannabis space. Tell us a little bit more about that. And then we want to know, like, what is the intersection between cannabis and intimacy?
Sure. Yeah. So I was the executive producer of the NorCal Canna Cuisine Gala, which was a celebration of Northern California cannabis cuisine and culture while honoring outstanding activism and entrepreneurship. And it was the biggest event I've ever produced and the first and only of its kind. And I had thought leaders from the space like Steve D'Angelo as my guest of honor, the founder of Harborside and an activist for 4 decades in the industry. And then a lot of other just founders of cannabis companies and cultivators, and I had about 200 people and an infused meal and music and art, and it was got great media attention, and the purpose and goal, I guess, that was achieved. I'm so grateful it was well received, was to really usher in this new era of cannabis and to celebrate where we are, those of us in the industry, connecting the original trailblazers like Steve D'Angelo and the old, people who've been around for decades with then the young new pioneers like myself who are coming in to celebrate, and while also sending a message to the rest of the world and everyone who might still think of cannabis as, stoner or that lazy, uneducated, any of that negative stigma, just kind of really say goodbye to that once and for all through a beautifully produced upscale event with intellectual people, just having a great time while also, I think, just showing a totally different view of what some people in some parts of the country or world might still think of when they think of cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
And So that was great. And that was just in July. And we made CBS Sunday Night News. And so, yeah, got some great mainstream press, and everyone who was there loved it. And so now I'm excited to be working on more events like that. I'm actually going to be working on a full series with Jeff, the 420 chef, and Steve D'Angelo Harborside, something that I'll be able to share more about later. But more of these, just providing a different or even a social space for people to enjoy cannabis as adults, and to celebrate conscious consumption and low dose. It's not about how stoned can we get. Just like I think most people, unless they're unfortunately an alcoholic, like most people don't go out to drink to try to get hammered. It's part of their life, having a glass of wine with their dinner or with their friends, their social. And that's how really what a lot of us want with cannabis, and there's not a lot of spaces for that right now, and I'm excited, and it's such an honor to be able to create those spaces for like-minded folks to connect with cannabis and whatever else in their life, and as adults should with our, with this beautiful plant. And that it was about the recreational and it was social, but of course, I mean, when we get into intimacy and sex, I mean, I use cannabis every day as part of my wellness regimen. Like the same way I take my other herbs or tinctures or oil of oregano if I'm sick. I mean, I'm microdosing with cannabis every day in my life, or using topicals as wellness, and not feeling high, not to alter my state of mind, but to almost to get me, or to put me in the place where I feel like a better version of myself and I can function better. Happier.
Yeah. Well,
feel well.
Okay. So yeah, we want to know like what you're using and what you're doing. And one thing I want to mention is just, I've been a fan of cannabis for, the better part of my entire life. So, I've always been connected to the culture and in different ways. And what totally blew me away is going to the cannabis event in Northern California, the Emerald Cup, last December. And let me tell you, Ignite Intimacy audience, there is like every type of cannabis connected business you could ever think of. People are so creative and so motivated and doing some really incredible things in the cannabis space. And it was like overwhelming how many businesses were there and how many different applications there are. So what I'd like to do is have you break down for us the different types of cannabis products that are out there, from like the CBD to so CBD and like the non-psychoactive products, and then the oils and just everything. Like if you can school us for a minute here on the different types of products, and then we'll get into more of like the types of products that can support healthy sexuality and deeper intimacy and all of that.
All right. This is fun. So let's see. So of course it starts with the flowers, which is the buds. And then yes, the two of the main cannabinoids in cannabis there's THC, which is what will make people, that's what gives us the high feeling, that's psychoactive, and CBD, which is non-psychoactive. Well, it's a non-intoxicant, but also has a ton of the other properties like anti-inflammatory and reducing stress and helps with depression. And so for a long time, everyone just wanted THC, so they were breeding strains with high THC. And a lot of times you get a little THC and CBD in strains or flowers, and then all the other products still come from the flowers. So I'll get to those. But now as so many people are reaping the benefits of CBD, even, children being able to use it and stop seizures and epilepsy, and I use it for inflammation. And yeah, I wake up and just take CBD tincture for breakfast, like 15 milligrams, nice. Or in a raw cacao edible, something low sugar, because I could start my day. Yeah, just starting with a nice 15 milligrams of CBD for me, I love, because I work out a lot, I'm active, and so I kind of always have inflammation, and I've suffered with anxiety and depression and things in the past, and it's always a practice to stay balanced, and so CBD helps me with that. And CBD is also, it's in a lot of topical products, and topicals are like creams and lotions and oils. And I also use those every day. So kind of my daily routine is wake up, I eat a little CBD or take it in a tincture. Usually after I shower, I even have some cannabis skincare products. I put some on my face, but I have a pain cream that's like a 1-to-1. And when people say you'll hear 1-to-1 or 3-to-1 or 15-to-1. People are referring to the CBD to THC ratio because there's something called an entourage effect, which means you're going to reap or feel more of the benefits of CBD with some THC.
Okay.
So that's that. And so even with topical creams and it's going on my skin, even if it's THC going on my skin, we process it differently. So that's not getting me high. But I put this pain cream, I kind of lather it all over my back and shoulders as that's my issue of injury and pain. And that I reapplied a few times a day, but I can't tell you the topicals are miracle workers. I just ran out of my patches, but I'm training for the 420 games, which is this Saturday. I'm excited to bike the race, and
nice.
I identify as a can athlete, and I ran cross country back in the day, so I'm competitive. I identify as an athlete. I love to work out and race, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, I've got a lot of gnarly stuff going on. So I was using even patches, like a CBD THC patch that you put right on the pain point or somewhere. And then it helps. I just can't tell you how much all of the topical stuff's been helping. And then beyond that, so then there's the flowers, which you can smoke. There's the oils that are not topicals and the oils that people either vape or dab. There's extracts that people either vape or dab. Edibles, which is, as my main area of expertise and my biggest area of passion. I got my start in the industry because I started judging cannabis cups for High Times magazine in 2012, and I've always judged edibles, and I love edibles. They're the healthiest way to get your cannabis because you're not smoking or vaping. It's also a different high as you're processing it through, our body and digestive tract or, liver, rather if it's a liquid one, rather than smoking or the other ways. And I just love edibles, and I am my other little nickname is Miss Microdose because I am microdosing all day, every day with cannabis through edibles. I'm drinking an infused cold brew coffee that has 10 milligrams of THC in it. And it's Ritual Coffee, which is like a total San Francisco great coffee. So it's a co-brand.
I need some of that.
Yeah, so when you come to town, I'll hook you up with all the good stuff.
Oh, yeah, girl. Absolutely. Well, okay, so this is so interesting. And my mind is jumping ahead. However, what I want to just say, edibles, heads up, because I know sometimes if people aren't familiar with edibles, they may eat too many or they may eat too much and because they're not feeling the effects yet. And then it will hit them. I have a girlfriend whose boyfriend hasn't been smoking for that long and he ate 5 gummy bears and he couldn't speak. And and the thing with so you just need to start small, right? Start small, try a little bit, wait an hour, see how your body feels, and so just a little heads up. I've had my own experiences of eating too much and getting totally freaked out,
Oh yes, no, I'm so glad you said that, and that's why I love even talking about this and having as many conversations as possible because you're so right. I just said it the other day to an edible maker. I said, adults, no matter how intelligent, how responsible, whatever they are, adults cannot be trusted to accurately or responsibly dose themselves. I've talked to so many and I'm like, don't eat the whole brownie, just eat a little bit. And they go, but I want to eat the whole thing. And I go, that's like drinking the whole handle of vodka. And they go, well, vodka doesn't taste this good. They should make it different. And so I talk to a lot of my clients and people in the business. And so that's why a lot of companies were moving towards lower dose and just making it dummy proof because everyone has a bad edible experience. Everyone. And most of the time it's from something homemade or they overdose themselves because they ate too many gummies or too many cookies or chocolate. Mm-hmm. So it's so important to, first of all, get properly advised by your bud tender, dispensary, or cannabis coach like myself. And then you can always eat more. You cannot eat less. And seriously, I tell people now start with 2.5 milligrams. Or 5 milligrams at the max and wait. But
so that's awesome. And so now everyone, you have your heads up. What I'm thinking about is because I was just speaking with someone else that I'm connected to in the cannabis space, and we were talking about the applications, the topical applications. of cannabis products that are really good. So perhaps, Elise, you could just share with us some of the aches and pains and diseases and things that cannabis helps to support, to have less pain, to, whatever it might be. So I want to get there with you, but I want to also just say that, that topical application is helping to like reduce swelling and reduce, joint pain and all of that. So give us just kind of like the top off the top of your head, some of the applications for just like physical ailments that cannabis is supporting.
Yeah, inflammation, mobility, or joint mobility. Gosh, I'm not looking.
Glaucoma, it's like glaucoma, epilepsy, like there's
depression, anxiety. Those are mental. I think even just regulating. I know people have used it for hormonal balance. Women around PMS and their time. Also, even I know women using it to help with menopause and those changes as well. So yeah, again, hormonal. Gosh, everything. That's a good list pain
right there.
In general, just pain is such a wide category.
And so we know that when you're having sex, we're women, right? So like we understand that as powerful as the pussy is, it's also sensitive, like really sensitive, right? And
it's delicate flower.
Powerful, delicate flower. And so it's like you can get really inflamed and really irritated, and if you're having a lot of sexual activity. So one of the things that there are more and more cannabis products coming out for use in the genital region, right? So whether you have a penis or a pussy, and so I'm thinking about the application of like reducing inflammation. And I'm wondering what you've seen out in the cannabis space as far as products that can either like enhance sex, that can ease inflammation, that can even like lubes, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. So, it's such a hot topic, and pun intended. But I remember, so the first one that came out was Foria, and that came out in 2013 or 14, because I remember that I was already had judged a few cups, and I'd moved to California and I had my card, and I was definitely all about the cannabis. And then lo and behold, there's the weed lube, and it's beautiful, well marketed. And it really is. So I tracked them down and I got some, and I'm like, I got to try this. And
what is it?
It's essentially, so it's infused coconut oil. It's basically like coconut oil infused with cannabis. And I don't want to say basic, like it's easy, because it's so important that anyone, when you're using cannabis medicine on your body or eating it or smoking it, that you do source it from conscious and quality cultivators, so there's no pesticides, no mold. And that's even like, because if the flowers were treated with pesticides or have mold, then that does end up in the oil. So I definitely want everyone to be medicating and using the cleanest and most sustainably produced cannabis if possible. So, but yeah, however, I don't know their exact method, but Foria essentially, and other brands who do it, it's just, it's the oil of the which has the THC and the cannabinoids, and it's then infused in coconut oil, which there's edible coconut oil too, that I've judged in a cup, that I've experimented with, or I joked, I'm like, oh, this is a great product because I can eat it, I can put it on my face, and I can put it on my pussy too, because it's the same type of product. Like even old school women are like, come on, like I've always been, when it comes to lubricants or something, you want to go natural over some chemical or synthetic thing anyways. So I would prefer coconut oil in the first place. And most people know, food grade coconut oil is just as good down there as it is up here. So that's fine. So Foria and most of the cannabis lubes, we'll call them, and there's a great one out here I love. It's by Herba Buena, and they call theirs the quiver oil. And I love that because it's made by a woman, Alicia, and she's a total goddess, and it's biodynamic cannabis. So imagine these plants harvested around the moon, and then how those flowers are then and turned into oil and then blessed, and it's made in Sonoma, and then that's what you're putting on your yoni or special parts. It's just a much better experience, right? And it really does. In that, I believe in that, the whatever energy and love is going into something when it's made is, of course, you're experiencing that when you use it. And she even has an accompanying tincture called Bliss or Aphrodisiac. And so it's some other herbs with then more cannabis. So you do a tincture under your tongue, you put the lubricant on yourself, and then and then she even has a joint that can go with it. Some people believe that there's some strains you can smoke that also get you in the mood. But to stick with the oils, one other little fact I got to say about that, and I treated it as a judge or as a reviewer when I first got the Foria. Like, okay, read the instructions, what's in it. You got to put it on like a half hour before, because just like an edible, it has to seep into your system, and so you can feel the effects. Mm-hmm. So I'd be like putting it on myself and then like waiting to like get in the mood with my man or whatever. But I really did find absolutely heightened awareness, heightened pleasure, more openness, like ability to kind of get there to like climax or orgasm maybe faster, and then more multiple orgasms. And I will say that for me, I was already content and happy in my active sex life. I wasn't using it to solve a problem. I was using it to see what additional benefits it would bring. And because I just love cannabis and have it in every point of my life, I wanted to have it or, use it in my sex life too. And yeah, it was everything I've wanted it to be and more. And honestly, since then, I kind of always have some type of cannabis lubricant on me or with me. Not like, I guess in every relationship or, since I've had it available, it is part of kind of my regimen. Not that like if I don't have my weed lube, I won't want to have that. But it's kind of like, yeah, why not? If I have it. So I've loved that, but I've recommended it to women or friends or people who've reached out to me online or who talk about, who aren't as happy in their sex life. Maybe they're not active or they have problems reaching climax or they're going through menopause and losing, and a lot of people have found that using some cannabis was kind of bringing some life back into it for them.
That's awesome.
And one other thing I have to say, though, because you mentioned the penis versus the pussy, and what's interesting about these oils is they only work for women. This is a fact. Our vagina has the skin down there or whatever. We have the receptors that can take in the cannabinoids, and then it will affect us, and we'll have a different experience. The penile organ or what have you, penis, doesn't have those. So even like the men, if we use this product and have sex with the man and the oil gets on him, it's not going to do anything. It'll just provide a nice additional lubricant, but it's not going to alter things for him. However, I went to a cannabis event the other night and, another table thing with people sampling, and she had something called the male libido thing, but that was just something a man should drink with high THC. Because I was asking her, I go, what is that really going to do? And she said, it's just high THC. It's supposed to, get him going. So I can't report to that yet. I haven't given it away to anyone, but I can say that, what a beautiful thing. Another power of the pussy or power of the woman. But yeah, only we even really have the ability to enjoy these benefits of the powerful plant in this very special place in this way. So I take that as a sign as, of course, we should be activating it and integrating it if we have the ability to. Our bodies were designed to do so. Just like our bodies have an endocannabinoid system, there's a system in our body that is made to interact with the cannabinoids and terpenes. And so
that is amazing.
It's amazing. And we're just learning about this stuff. We're really, we have so barely scratched the surface.
I just think that is so interesting that women there's something about our genitalia that will absorb the elements of the cannabis product and allow us to actually feel the sensations from it, but that it won't for the man. I just think that is fascinating.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. I was just kind of digging around online recently for cannabis products that are more for use with sex and intimacy. I even saw these condoms that taste like weed, right? So like they taste like they taste like, for like the super cannabis lovers out there, you know. I was like, wow, that's interesting, you know. But I mean, different applications from suppositories that help with menstrual cramps and PMS and lubes and massage oils. Talk to us a little bit about the cannabis massage oils.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I can't believe I forgot suppositories.
Yes, yes.
I have yet to try those, and I'm mad at myself that I haven't, because I bought them saying I was going to try them, and then I've given them away to friends. But I've bought both the anal and vaginal suppositories, and I've given them away. So I have to try those, and then we'll talk again.
Good. Okay.
But because I really want to.
Well, and I want to too. So like maybe we should both try them.
We should. And then. So the massage oils, again, there's so many variations, because a massage oil versus, what could be described as like a pain cream or an anti-inflammation cream, when they're pretty similar ingredients when it comes to, just what's, THC or CBD, and then plus whatever the moisturizer is. But yeah, I think a lot of the massage oils are almost same as the vaginal oils, or the intimate oils, I should say, personal. And they just kind of add a new, it's a nice, a nice different element, right? I think also cannabis itself is still like, sexy and cutting edge. So even just like if you're going to have a choice, or some people, I think it might, add a little sexiness or, fun to the moment to be using something that's cannabis infused over just a regular massage oil or lubricant or even condom. I can't believe there's condoms that taste like cannabis.
I know.
That's really weird. But
it's kind of ridiculous, but kind of fun, right? Like, I don't know if I would enjoy it. I'd try it. Like, I'd give it a shot.
I mean, there's cannabis dating now. I've heard of that. There's some special, like,
really?
dating. Yeah, for cannabis people to link up. Yeah. And I believe there's like a cannabis love coach or cannabis dating coach. And
what? Well, it sounds like you got some cannabis coaching that you are doing or creating.
Yeah, I'm realizing that I have all this knowledge, and so many people just don't know where to start with, whether it be my followers or people who reach out online that don't know me, or even family members in the Midwest, or old colleagues and friends in New York, or people in London. They just don't even know where to start. I am so lucky to live in Northern California and to be in the epicenter, and then also in the industry and this bubble. But I'm realizing so many people don't have this information, don't know where to begin. And there's going to be more and more noise as the industry keeps blowing up. So I'm going to be offering personal cannabis coaching so that I can work with people to see what they want to achieve with cannabis, and then I can help guide them on how to use it. So conversations just like we're having right now, like I really hope that your listeners or people like that this is valuable, and that it's a good place to start, because, I think in these conversations and hearing just how other people, a woman like me or even yourself uses it, it really can help people feel more comfortable to then do their own Googling and then come back and ask more questions and start off on the right path, rather than just, eating a cookie and like having a, not the most ideal experience.
Mm-hmm.
And that's is people go, I don't know where to start. And I go, what do you want to achieve? And then they want to think for a minute. So that's what I always kind of encourage people to think about. What are you really going for? Whether it's, in your sex life or your relationship or your wellness, or, you're trying to feel better, you're trying to have less stress, you want to sleep more. I mean, there's so many different reasons that people use cannabis that you really kind of got to dial that in.
Well, absolutely. And really, like, what's the goal? Is the goal to open up more? Is it to, be more comfortable? Is it to manage anxiety? Is it to lube up and juice up your genitals so that you have a more pleasurable sexual experience? It's like, yeah, I mean, there are so many different ways of just utilizing cannabis and hemp for different products, whether they're topical, you're actually eating them, or putting oil or something under your tongue, or smoking it. It's like there are so many different applications, which is the thing that just boggles my mind about the power of cannabis.
Yeah, it's really truly like a powerful plant. I mean, every day, and you would think would have worn off by now, but it doesn't. Like for me, like every day I learn something new. And then I hear about another miracle. Like it just never gets old, even though, yeah, I know it helps with inflammation. I know it helps with pain. But then every time one other person, if I've helped guide them, or even like, like someone who is so anti-cannabis and they realize, wait, it won't get me high. And then I've honestly had people be like, they get something with CBD or they get a low dose and they're off Xanax, or they were able to sleep. They're like, I didn't need a Xanax last night. I can't believe it. And yet even I'm like, even though I'm the one who told them it would work, I'm still like, I know, isn't it a miracle? Like, it's so great. This really works. Like, it's almost like I'm surprised every time, but I'm not, because I'm recommending it. But it's just that mind blowing because it's a plant and it's so powerful. And we're really just getting started with it and just finally able to really come out of the closet with it. Which is like, it's just so exciting. It's really, I feel blessed to have it be such a big part of my life and to share it with you and with your audience.
Yeah.
And if there's any women out there, curious, I definitely want to say, don't be scared. There's so many great resources online and people out there, sharing their stories and finally coming out. And if you are a cannabis user or enthusiast and you can speak about it intellectually, and, please, it's important that you share how you use cannabis with your friends and your peers, because the more people who do come out and say how it's helping them or how they use it and, aren't scared of being like stigmatized by the PTA or who's going to look at, if you can do that in your community, then that's what's creating change. That's really what it is the more people who say, the moms who are coming out and say, yeah, I use it, for this, and I'm still, a great mom and a professional.
Yes.
And that's what's making the change, because of,
dispelling the myth, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw this woman, this is at least a year ago, this woman in Colorado was curating these events, these cannabis events that paired like wine and food with different types of cannabis. And like, it was like everyone paid $100 for entry. They brought their favorite method of smoking, and they had like this evening experience where they got to connect with other cannabis lovers or just explore cannabis in general. And this woman is a mom of 2 young kids. And I did not really publicly talk much about my own cannabis use before my daughter was 18, because her father would threaten me about, anyways,
right.
Whatever.
Yes. No, a lot of parents today still can't come out because technically it's federally illegal, and they're worried about, having their kids taken away.
Totally.
It's a real deal.
And then finally it was like my daughter turned 18 and I was just like, you know what? F it. I'm coming out. I'm coming out as a cannabis user because I'm not ashamed of it, and what I found out through the years is that so many people use cannabis, from your teachers to your bosses to your clergy members to your, don't get it twisted. People in the world, in every profession, in every religious group, in every sector of society, use cannabis. And not that everyone uses cannabis, but a lot of people are out there using cannabis. And I just said, I'm not going to be ashamed of this anymore, or not ashamed of it, but worried about sharing this because of it might create some, risk of losing my daughter or whatever. So I'm just proud that I'm just grateful that I had that realization and just said, forget about it. I'm just going to be open about, my love for cannabis and my use of cannabis. And it's been a really, really fun, profound tool in my own life. And the fact that today you can go into certain states and even just on the streets of New York, you just smell marijuana. It's not a big deal. It's like, oh, you smell marijuana on the street. Oh, you smell it in the club. Like, that's one of the biggest things I've noticed is like, how you'd be in the club and people would just be getting like dragged out for smoking a pipe or smoking a joint in a club watching a show. And these days, that like in certain places, that doesn't exist anymore. Because you can, it's like, or it's not as prevalent that people are just getting kicked out for smoking marijuana, especially in open air events, amphitheaters, right. And just like, big festivals that are outside. You can just smoke a freaking joint and not worry about it, and, and there's something so beautiful and freeing about that. So Elise, we're going to definitely have you on the program again. I would love to chat with you offline. Let's figure out like, how can we get some products that we can test and then do like a review of more intimate products for cannabis on the show at some point in the future. Let's talk about that offline and just see what's possible. But for now, how can people find you online?
All right. Yeah. And that sounds great. I would love to do that. People can find me at elisemcroberts.com, and on Instagram and Facebook, it's Elise McRoberts, and it's ELISEMC Roberts. And yeah, I'm easy to find. And there's, you can contact me through my Facebook page, the Elise McRoberts, please like me, or you can contact me through Instagram. I'm on there a lot. And I have an email list too that you can sign up for on my website. I think it's under development, but drop me an email, Elise at elisemcroberts.com, and I'll add you to my list where I'm going to be, getting more. I hope to be writing more and doing reviews and content to get more of this information out there. And I'm excited to come back and talk to you, Laura. Yes. And I'm going to get you connected with some of these brands and products, because maybe it'd be fun to do some like bi-coastal reviews.
Totally.
You have your experience out there, and I'll do what I do out here. I don't have a man in my life to try these, so I might be doing a lot of personal trying.
Love it. Well,
we should note that is the thing. These products, the sexy time products, they are meant to be used. I mean, alone or with a partner or with a group. However you do your thing, and men and men, women and women, whatever. So
awesome. Intimacy and sexuality it happens whether you're alone or with others, right? So it's like we can totally be deeply, deeply intimate with ourselves. We can be deeply intimate with others and each other, and so it's like you don't have to have a partner to test these things out and try them out. The cannabis tasting condoms, that's a different story. And you're a man who's really flexible. But I'm like, the visual in my head. Okay. So Elise McRoberts, it's ELISE, M as in mother, C Roberts.com. You can find Elise all over social media, Instagram, Facebook, probably Twitter too. And
Twitter, YouTube.
Cool. Yeah, and just let us know if you have any questions about cannabis and intimacy and sexuality. You can always email us at hello@igniteintimacy.com. We love to hear from you. Thank you to everyone who hollered from the 1-year anniversary special. And Elise, it was so awesome having you today.
Laura, this has been awesome. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much. And I would love to answer questions from the Ignite Intimacy audience as well. So please, everyone out there, send your questions and I'll come back and answer them.
Awesome. Well, Ignite Intimacy community, you heard it live and direct. Right here, we're talking about cannabis and intimacy and sexuality and how they all blend together in some yummy goodness for our intimate and sexual pleasure. Elise, thank you so much for your time and your expertise and energy, and just keep doing the work you're doing, girl. And you shine like a bright star in this world. So keep on shining.
Oh, thank you, sister. Back at you.
Yeah,
Me too.
Right on. And
right.
For everyone who's tuning in, thank you so much. Please share this with your friends, and we will check you on the next one. All right. Stay blessed, and ciao for now. Give thanks for tuning in to another conversation on the Ignite Intimacy podcast hotline. We love that you choose to spend your time with us. Check us out online at igniteintimacy.com and subscribe to us on iTunes. Also, tell your friends all about it. This beautiful music was arranged by Jason Pfaff and Mike Corey, and this podcast is produced by yours truly, Miss La. Give thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one. In the meantime, let your light shine bright and ignite your intimacy.